Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jenix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this
morning?
Perfect.
Good.
Powerful woman. You're not hearing the end of it. Good morning, yes, we are. How are you? Good morning, Ayo. How are you this morning?
Thank you.
Good morning, Rufai.
You know when we used to play card, they'll say, Lewen Jiwe, ni number, ni number.
You do well in educating our audience.
Well done. Number.
Well done.
I mean, you guys are matching shades of green. What shade of green is this?
I think it is Nigerian green.
Nigerian green.
Same. I don't think we're doing that now. Let's go. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, a second woman, Jessica Leeds, testified on Tuesday that former President Donald Trump molested her with what seemed like 40 zillion hands on an airline flight in the late 1970s, years before writer E. Jean Carroll said that the former president sexually assaulted her at Bergdorf Goodman, a luxurious department store in New York. The 81-year-old from North Carolina told jurors at a civil trial to support Carroll's lawsuit that Trump grabbed her chest and ran his hand up her skirt as they sat side by side in first class on the New York City-bound jet. Trump has denied the rape claims, stating that the allegations are politically motivated attempts to smear his reputation and deny him the White House. In Nigeria, Udu Yunusa Ari, the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa, was arrested on Tuesday and is currently being grilled to ascertain the motives behind his improper actions during the supplementary elections in Adamawa State. Yunusa Ari had stirred controversy by declaring the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Aisha Binani Dahiru, as winner of the elections before the collation of results were completed. In an interview with the BBC Hausa, the suspended rec denied being offered money by anyone to make the announcement, adding that he does not regret announcing Binani as winner of the election. In Uganda, the Minister for Labor, Employment and Industrial Relations, Charles Ngola, was shot dead by his bodyguard, Wilson Sabiti, an ex-soldier, on Tuesday at his home in Kampala, the country's capital. According to the police, the bodyguard allegedly fired several shots at the minister at close range and then fled from the scene up to a trading center where he entered a salon and shot himself dead. Before the shooting incident, Sabiti complained that the minister owed him several months of unpaid salary, totaling $1,000. Under sports, Forbes magazine named Cristiano Ronaldo the world's highest paid athlete on Tuesday after his move to Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr nearly doubled his annual playing salary. Ronaldo joined the Saudi club on a deal until 2025 after leaving Manchester United last year, earning $136 million. According to Forbes, his annual playing salary went up to an estimated $75 million. Ronaldo's contract has now been estimated to be worth more than $200 million. Paris Saint-Germain forward Lionel Messi comes in second on the Forbes list, raking in $130 million. Finally, under entertainment, nominations for the 76th Annual Tony Awards were announced on Tuesday, and film turned musical Some Like It Hot, which starred Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis on the big screen in 1959, led the nominations with a total of 13. This year, a whopping 38 shows were eligible for consideration by the nominating committee. The award ceremony is set to take place on June 12th at the United Palace Theater in Washington Heights, New York, and will be hosted for the second year in a row by Oscar-winning actress Ariana DeBose. Well, let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing the Bloomberg investigation that linked Seyi Tinubu, son of Nigeria's president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to the purchase of a fraud tainted $10.8 million property in the United Kingdom. Seyi was said to have purchased the property in 2017 through Aranda Overseas Corp, an offshore company in which he is a main shareholder. The investigation maintained that there is no suggestion that Tinubu was personally involved in the acquisition of the property. According to the Bloomberg report, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in 2016 secured an order to seize the property from Kola Aluko, an ally of Diezani Alison-Madueke, former Minister of Petroleum. Interestingly, the forfeiture order was still in force when Tinubu's son bought the house out of receivership. Well, let's take some reactions. This is from Fishayo Swombo, who wrote, in 2020, Alpha Beta's MD said in a writ of summons that 500 million naira was diverted to Starcom's Aranda Resources. We now know Tinubu's son, Seyi, is its main shareholder. Connecting the dots, Tinubu using Alpha Beta to pay his son, Seyi, millions. Well, Kweku wrote, so 6 years ago, while Seyi Tinubu was still 30 years old, he was able to afford a 7.5 billion naira cash payment for a house in London, a house that was lined up for seizure by the Buhari administration due to corruption ties, was suddenly bought over by Tinubu's son, and he paid in cash. Well, Omotaya wrote, from a legal perspective, this is a clean transaction for Seyi. Don't just look good. To be fair on Seyi Tinubu, if the property had been on receivership by Deutsche Bank, then it means that it was no longer Aluko's property. With how receivership works, the Nigerian government would not have been able to take it over anyways. It will have just been sold to anyone. Receivership is defined as a legal process in which a creditor, that is Deutsche Bank, assumes ownership of a debtor, Aluko's property, after they default on a mortgage that is secured by a fixed legal charge. Well, the odd question is whether Aluko deliberately defaulted on his mortgage so that the Nigerian government could no longer confiscate it as proceeds of embezzlement allegations. The transaction by Seyi Tinubu by itself, it's not illegal, but the circumstances are shady. Well, Ayo, this whole conversation was huge on social media. I mean, the first question is, what is Bloomberg's interest in this whole deal? I mean, is the United Kingdom, are they questioning this transaction? Are they questioning the property? Why is Bloomberg interested at this point?
Well, Bloomberg is an international media house, and they have a right to investigate cases of interest. Now, in terms of the United Kingdom's interest, the property itself is in St. John's Wood, which is in North London, which is in the United Kingdom. And we know that in the past, with efforts with regards to illegal use of money or money laundering or purchase of property using illegally gotten funds, the UK has indicated in the past interest to support Nigeria in repatriating funds that have come from loots or through illegal means. So perhaps we can see that as an angle as to the UK's interest, Bloomberg's interest. But at the end of the day, we have a report, and the report doesn't look very clear. There are grey areas. To be honest, Seyi Tinubu is a private citizen. It's his dad, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's run for presidency and who is now the president-elect. However, he is an interest in terms of a figure because, of course, he's the son of the president-elect. And so what he does could reflect poorly or well on his father. The lawyers have spoken. There's no legal implication, at least up until now, for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or would affect his swearing in because he's not listed in Aranda. It is his son, Seyi Tinubu. But then there are other questions, Oji, which some tweets have already suggested. Number one is that this deal is not very straightforward. It was in receivership. The owner, Kola Aluko, were under investigation at the time for corruption or especially linked to the former Minister of Petroleum, Alison-Madueke, Diezani Alison-Madueke, Mrs. Diezani Alison-Madueke. So it is quite interesting, and I think that this is just the beginning of what really transpired. But what's also important is that we now begin to understand and see the owners of these SPVs, special purpose vehicles, or companies that buy houses. Finally, I just want to say something in terms of the question that was asked with regards to sources of income, because that then becomes a big question. What does Seyi Tinubu do? What was he doing at the age of 30 in terms of occupation? Was this money proceeds from his father's real estate business? Was this part of the real estate business investment they had done? So these are the kind of... I know today he's a media owner in terms of he owns billboards around the area and a few businesses here and there. What was he doing at the age of 30 for him to be able to afford cash down without mortgage? This was listed in the Bloomberg report. But also brings to question the condo that was bought by Tinubu's younger daughters as well in New York. They are private citizens, but then questions must arise as Nigerians as to what's the source of the income.
Well, Dr. Bati, Bloomberg did mention that Tinubu was now personally involved in the acquisition. But there was also another report that Bloomberg also mentioned, which is a premium time report that stated that Tinubu and Buhari had visited that house in London. I mean, this raises a lot of questions as to what really is going on.
Okay, here. The principle is that law is not morality. So many of the people who have commented on this, they are raising moral questions. They're saying, where did Seyi Tinubu get the money from? Where did Tinubu's children, where did they get money from? Now, these are persons who have not held public office. So technically, really, it will be wrong to say, you are questioning their legal rights to own property, which is provided for expressly under Section 43 of the 1999 Constitution, which says that as a Nigerian citizen, you can own you can acquire and own immovable property. But that law talks about Nigeria. Now, under the property rights, property ownership rights, if you are of age of maturity, you can own property. And these properties that we're talking about here, they are in other jurisdictions. Seyi Tinubu is 37-year-old, is said to have acquired a property in England at the age of 30. Now, except there are issues about money laundering, about abuse of resources in Nigeria, then the UK authorities themselves are in a position to raise questions about how you steal money from Nigeria to come and acquire a 3-story property in England. That is not the case, but I'm sure that the UK authorities are following the story and they will look at it. Bloomberg reporting the story, well, Bloomberg doesn't need to have any special interest. Bloomberg, is a media house. A media house can inquire into any subject affecting anybody under the sun. The linkage with Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president-elect falls under that category that once you are a public figure,
absolutely,
everything about you is game. Even your old girlfriends who are on retirement benefits can be investigated. Why are you laughing?
I mean, you always say
some girlfriends never retire. They have to keep.
Some girlfriends never retire.
They keep receiving benefits for life. But in any case,
talking from experience.
But in any case, that's not a subject before
us. Experience.
Okay, so in this particular case, it will be difficult for anybody to link the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu once spent time there in his son's house, to link it with the politics of Nigeria. So I think that in this regard, the court judgment that people are referring to, that, a federal high court said that property was, under investigation, EFCC was going to take it and all of that. The EFCC jurisdiction does not extend to the UK. So the judgment of the High Court in Nigeria is not going to take effect in UK. And if the property was under receivership, under a different jurisdiction, I don't see any legal impediments, preventing Seyi Tinubu from owning that property. All other issues about where did he get the money from, who is the true owner of the party, his father gave him the money, those are moral questions. And that is why I suspect that the spokespersons of the president, the EFCC, the other parties involved have refused to comment on the subject.
Absolutely. All right, then we'll take another story. On Tuesday, the chairperson of Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, announced via Twitter that the Nigerian embassy in Egypt has moved all evacuees from the Sudanese side of the border to the Egyptian side of the border after the intervention of President Muhammadu Buhari. The commission further stated that the Nigerian students were being prepared to be airlifted through the Aswan Airport by Africa's largest private airline, Airpeace, which landed in Egypt at about 9 p.m. on Tuesday. The airline, however, stated that upon arrival, the evacuated Nigerian students were nowhere in sight. According to reports, embassy officials informed the airline that the stranded students have not left the Egyptian border because their bus transfer to the airport has not been arranged by the National Emergency Management Agency.
We landed here at 9 p.m. Nigerian time, and it is now midnight in Lagos. We came with a 777. This one take 274 people, and we have food on board for more than 300 people. But unfortunately, our people from Sudan, they are not here yet for this evacuation. But so far so good. Our management decided so that we should come to wait for them and to prepare this evacuation so it can be done as smooth as possible. We are now moving in the next 10-15 minutes to the hotel, so at least the crew can get a minimum rest. And as soon as they get here, we are here at the airport with our handler. They will call us, and then we start boarding and bring them home in Nigeria. Thank you.
Well, apparently there are reports that the students are now heading to the airport by the bus. But the story here is that the airline arrived, just like the NAF aircraft, arrived without proper communication. And like the gentleman said, I had a longer video, he said, I mean, they came in there with food, ready to evacuate the Nigerian students, and they were nowhere in sight because there was no bus provided for them. The students that have been at the border for days, no bus. I don't know if, I heard it had to do with payment issues again.
You see, the first prayer I'd like to pray this morning is, God, please, let our students come back home safely. And I can't wait for them to start to arrive today. And I just hope their parents are mentally okay to be able to receive them. Then let's deal with the madness and the shenanigan happen. And kudos to Airpeace, another airline, Asma. Asma put up an S380 in there, if my memory serves me right, like a 409-seater capacity. So there are a couple of ample planes to be able to bring them back. And only to think that with Airpeace doing that, there's an industrial action and the NLC is harassing Airpeace out of Owerri today. Please, people that provide jobs in this country, let's treat them well. Airpeace has done enough. NLC should stop harassing them. Concerning this case, we said it many times. Obviously, they dropped the ball. But how did they drop the ball? Because there was no coordination with NEMA. Everybody was busy doing carry me. Carry meism, see me. NIDCOM will do their own. Ministry of Foreign Affairs will do their own. NEMA will do their own. 3 different people addressing the press on different occasions. They can't synergize. So when you don't have synergize, we know what happens, Oji. Confusion, break, ibonu. Yeah, that's what's happening. Confusion. Double wahala, like Fela says. The same NEMA, I'm sure they will probably claim now that the money we got was only to take them to the border.
I mean, how?
$400,000 out of the $1.2 million. So no synergy, no arrangement. So the people got to the border and they were stuck. The airline is on ground. And before you know it, we all saw the experience with the NAF jet, the Hercules C-130.
Where are they?
Before you know, hope they will not start charging Airpeace for landing there.
Of course they will. I mean,
and money is already running.
What do you think? I mean, what
so
about
because of the lack of synergy, and that's why you see the ambassador had to even come out, Nigerian ambassador to come out to say that my hands are not there. Somebody will have thought that the on-ground arrangement should be made in partnership with Nigerian embassy on ground, since they know Sudan and they know what's happening. But NEMA will run the show themselves. NIDCOM will issue statement. Ministry of Foreign Affairs will do their own, just like they issued a statement and debunked the story about Igbos not being evacuated and all of that. So you have like 3 people talking.
Yes.
And when 3 people are talking, it's all rowdy in a room.
Yeah.
But see, Oji, our prayer is let them come back home. We'll deal with our own issues internally.
Absolutely.
It is because of all of this that countries like Egypt will see us finish.
Yeah, Rufai,
that's what's happening.
Right, you just touched on a big topic, which is the Igbos. You know, in the meantime, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has dismissed allegations of selective evacuation of Nigerian students from the war-torn Sudan. On Monday, a video clip surfaced online showing an Igbo man alleging that some Igbo people were left behind by the Nigerian government while others were evacuated. Well, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that the Nigerian embassy in Khartoum confirmed that Igbo residents were among the first batch of Nigerians to be evacuated before being airlifted home. I mean, I'm glad that this clarification came up, because when we saw that video, there was a lot of reactions, because we took that story about, you know, the segregation. Is that what I would call it at this point? They were dividing
state of origin by state
Nigerians by state of origin. And so, I mean, this video came out and people were saying this is the main issue here. I'd like to take our final story, which is in Rivers State. The governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, on Tuesday, declared May 3rd as a public holiday to enable residents welcome President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the state. During a live broadcast, the governor said that Tinubu would be paying a 2-day visit to Rivers State to commission some projects. Wike urged the people of the state to come out in great numbers to give the president-elect a rousing welcome during his visit, because Rivers State is the first state Tinubu will be visiting since he won the election.
I urge all Rivers citizens to come out en masse to receive our president-elect, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and display the traditional Rivers hospitality as he commissions these legacy projects to God's glory and advancement of our development. Given this, I hereby declare Wednesday, 3rd of May, 2023, a public holiday to enable the people of Rivers State to receive our president-elect rousingly. Furthermore, all shops and business premises along Rumola to Rumukuta roads in Obiabo local government area of the state shall remain closed from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Wednesday, 3rd of May, 2023.
I mean, public holiday. Dr. Bati, I heard you say he has the power to do it. You know that the announcement has prompted an old video in which the governor slammed Buhari and those who campaigned on carrying on his legacies, a phrase attributed to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
When I hear people declaring for Airpeace, saying that they want to continue the good job of Mr. President, the good job of people dying every day, the good job of Naira falling every day, I feel so ashamed that we have gotten to the level where sacrificing, people will come and say, look, I want to continue the good job of Buhari. What is the good job of Buhari? Of hunger is a good job. Of poverty is a good job. Of insecurity is a good job. Of the economy falling is a good job. It's such a shameful thing. I can't believe that somebody will come out in today's Nigeria and say, I want to continue where Mr. Buhari has stopped. May God forgive. May God never allow that people to continue to.
All right, Dr. Abati, over to you. Here we have Governor Wike declaring a public holiday for the same man that he, you know. Okay,
Governor Wike has told everyone that President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu is coming to Rivers State to commission projects, a flyover, a new magistrate court, May 3, May 4. And he has now said markets are closed from 10 to 3 p.m., right, on May 3. Well, people will ask the question, does he have the powers to declare a public holiday? The Public Holidays Act of 1979 vests the powers for declaring public holiday in the federal government, okay? It's under the exclusive list in the Constitution. However, Section 12 of the same act says Whereas Section 4 of the Constitution gives the powers to the National Assembly, a state governor can declare public holiday. We have seen Lagos State, other states declaring public holiday on June 12. We have seen other states doing it. But what you can question here is that what is Governor Wike's motive? Is the motive psychophancy? Is it an attempt to prepare for himself to go to Airpeace? Is it grandstanding? So what is the motive? Can a governor, for individual reasons, declare a public holiday for the purpose of ingratiation? Especially as the great Malabite, Emmanuel Efeni, brought a story earlier showing that Wike is trying to reap where he did not sow.
All right.
That is a report in This Day Today, under transition notes, that he's just trying to project himself. So this is the problem here, I don't know. But we don't have more time to go into the details.
My very good friend, Governor Wike, will respond to you. You can't go without water.
No, but he will not question,
He will give you back, don't worry, just wait.
Okay, no problem.
We are waiting for you.
For your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.